Okay, this demonstration video is the second video in the series for the spice rack. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to use constraints to try and to assemble all the different parts of the spice rack together. So I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to go into the assembly files, and I'm going to choose the standard millimeter assembly. And where it says up in the top corner place or create, we've already created them all, so it's going to be place. And the first item I'm going to bring in of the spice rack is the left side, and I'm going to say open. There'll be one attached to my mouse, which I'll click, and then to get rid of the second one you just hit escape on your keyboard. So I'm just going to get this turned round so I'm looking at it in a slight pictorial view. And it's normally good practice to ground the first item that you bring in. So over on the side I'm going to right click on top of left side and say grounded, and all that does is it stops this part from moving. So I'm going to place in the shelf next, and the shelf has now got to be constrained into this slot here in the left side. So I click on constraint, and in the little menu that appears, I'm going to make sure I'm going to use my mate constraint, and I'm going to click on the end here, and what I'm going to do is zoom in a little closer, and I'm going to click on the recess there, and what it does is it pops the two of them together. Don't forget to click apply to make sure that that works. And then the next one that I'm going to do is I'm going to do what's called a flush constraint, because this edge here has to be flush with this edge here, and when I do that and click apply, it is now constrained together, but the shelf can still move up and down. So the last constraint that I'm going to do on it, again a mate constraint using the mate, is the top of the shelf, and if I rotate it round, is going to mate onto this little part here and apply. Now, with the two of them fully constrained together, the shelf is fully into the left hand side. So I'm going to now bring in the right hand side and repeat that. So place, bring in the right hand side, and just repeat all those the techniques that we just did on the left side. We're going to do them now to the right side. So constraint, I'll start off this time with the flush, and I'll do this side to here, apply. I'll go to mate, and I'll say I want to mate that recess. I want to mate that to the end of the shelf. And once again, the only thing that's then left at that point is this can move up and down. So constraint, I'll do it at the bottom edge this time. That's going to constrain to the bottom of the shelf. Apply. Okay, so that's me got three of the parts assembled together, starting to look a bit like a spice rack now. So I'm going to bring in the first spar, place, and I'll bring in the spar, and I'll use my constraints now to constrain the spar into the recess in the back of the sides. So if I constraint, I'm going to start off by doing a mate between these surfaces here. Then I'm going to do a flush between the end of the spar and the side here. And all that leaves is that the spar can move up and down. So once again, I'm going to constrain using a mate. This bottom edge here is going to constrain onto the underside of the spar. So that is it fully together. Now there's one last spar to go on the front, which stops the spices falling off the front. So I'll place another spar on the front. Oh, too many. I'll click on that one and delete. So I'm going to constrain once again the front face onto there using mate, and then I'll use flush on the end and the end, apply, and then that just leaves it to move up and down. And what I'm going to try and do is do a flush constraint between the bottom of the spar and the underside of the shelf. So again, with a flush, and apply. And that is me fully constrained it all together. So if I use the viewing cube to rotate it round, that is me finished assembling together the spice rack. Now your time to have a wee go at that.